It's costing a minimum of $2 million to build a house now.
True.
A good quality, a particular design standard. If you can't buy at the right price, then you're sort of fighting an uphill battle for the rest of the development. Everyone I've ever met who's made it in the development industry always says buying's most important.
Yeah, the north, south facing, west facing. Until I got in the game seriously, over a decade ago, I didn't understand how big of a driver that is. Like the parcel, which way it's facing.
I would pay anywhere up to probably $500,000 more for a north facing. People really need to understand that orientation. So you're sort of talking $3.5 million for these north facing sort of blocks, 400 square metres Mermaid Beach at the moment. If you had a south block and you could get up to that sort of number, you'd be pretty happy.
We're very landlocked. The easiest thing to do is just go on Google Maps and then scroll out and then look for green. The only green is, like, as you said, between Brisbane to the Gold Coast and then far down south.
Well, we can't develop more land. We can split it down a little bit further, but there's only so many properties that can be developed in that sort of true Gold Coast area that we probably play in so much.
Just out of curiosity, Gold Coast, what are you finding as hot or up and coming, and what are you finding as maybe that's a bit outdated?
I think the real movers and shakers, the ones that are ahead of the curve, are probably coming back to...
All right, buying Gold Coast. Here we are. New season. Super pumped around this one. Be on the lookout this season. I think not only a deeper dive on, I guess, the Gold Coast, but more specifically, I've listened to what you guys are wanting and the ladies out there, and it seems like design, renovation, locations, and also just the specifics of buying property. So this season, my promise to you is we're going to dive much deeper into topics, and we're going to be rolling out a brand new page and obviously a brand new studio too. So we'll keep you posted on all of that. But today's guest, we got an absolute banger in the building. I'm really pumped for this episode, just with Jayson's background. So we actually got Jayson Pate from Jayson Pate Design. He's one of the designers, I guess, on the Gold Coast. I feel redesigning not only the property, but I feel it's kind of translating into the city as well. And we're just chatting off air some of the things Jayson's got in the pipeline, but also his, I guess, architectural knowledge now is definitely expanding from when we last spoke. So I have the privilege of unpacking that brain of his, and we're going to go deep. So stay tuned for this one. But Jayson Pate, mate, thanks for jumping on buying Gold Coast.
No problems. Thanks for having me.
Mate, unreal. I think most people, if you're on the Gold Coast right now, you'd be sleeping under a rock if you haven't seen some of Jayson's work. But I just want to start straight off the bat. Mate, from last time we spoke, Jayson Pate Design's obviously gone, from strength to strength. You're a company at the start. Now you're turning into a much bigger company. But mate, my first question is how or when do you think the Gold Coast is going to either ease up or just kind of settle, or it just seems like it's just been like on a trajectory month after month, like just high level Gold Coast? Like when do you feel it's going to just settle for a bit?
Yeah, high level, I can't see it settling at all at the moment. With what I see and clients coming to me, there's just no slowdown at all. So a lot of us are speaking about the positivity in the market all the way through to what might be the Olympics in 2032. If that's the case, we've got a lot of work ahead of us.
Yeah, 100%. With that, what do you think it is? Like, obviously there's the whole Olympics and confidence. Like, if you were to go a layer deeper, like what do you think it truly is around, I guess, the Gold Coast going from strength to strength, people wanting to design like strong homes now on the coast? What do you reckon it is?
I think the money is moving up here. And you look around, our winters, you hardly put a pair of pants on if you don't want to. I pretty much work in a pair of shorts most of the year, all year round. So we've got the lifestyle, we've got the weather, and now you can do big business from the Gold Coast. I think, go back 20 years when I was starting out, if you wanted an executive job in, a company that you might be able to make good money with, you were down in Melbourne, Sydney, and possibly Brisbane if you were lucky. But now you can do it all from the Gold Coast. So I think a lot more people are choosing to live here and bringing that sort of wealth from different states here and at a rapid rate at the moment.
Yeah, I've definitely felt that too. Like as our business has grown and evolved, it's just like, it's like the wealth bracket is getting higher and higher. And one thing I'm just observing as well is like the entry level for some suburbs now on the Gold Coast, like I'm talking straight up knockdowns, you're needing nearly $2 million, which is just absurd to think. Like me and you were just chatting off air. We've been on the Gold Coast for a while now. Knockdown starting at $2 million in some of these suburbs. Like, What's your thoughts on that? And any advice to anyone out there who might be trying to project, will the prices come down? Like, yeah, what's your thoughts on just entry-level stock now?
Yeah, the entry level we deal with around that sort of 2 million buy-in, it's costing a minimum of 2 million to build a house now.
True.
To build a home that we design anyway,
Yes.
of a good quality, a particular design standard. They're probably starting around that 2 mark. Anything under, it's possible, but it's difficult, and a lot of compromise needs to take place.
Yes.
As budgets grow from there, we still talk to clients about overall numbers. So, say you buy for 2, you build for 2.5, can you get 5 when you're selling? Because you need that buffer. You never want to be spending 4.5 to possibly get 4.5. It just doesn't stack up. And a lot of the clients we deal with, yes, we've got a lot of homeowners who will build their dream home. We've got a lot of movers and shakers who are sort of building to sell, within the first sort of 3 to 5 years of a house. So you really want to make sure there's equity there. So that, when they sell, they're safe and they haven't put too much in and done it all for nothing.
Mate, that's probably a good place to take this. The common feedback I hear a lot is it doesn't stack at the moment because land values are increasing. Build costs are somewhat increased. From all reports, they're steadying, but they're still pretty solid. As you said, it's nearly 2 mil to build something decent. Mate, what's a bit of a mindset for anyone out there right now? Because there's a lot of people listening to this who are this person right now. They've got the equity or they've got the cash coming through the business. They see the Jayson Pate Design and they're seeing what they sell for. And it's like, let's do this. Then they go shopping in the market and they're like, well, hold on, 2 million, like what's any advice there for those sorts of people?
I think it's just important that they really know the market. They've got to do their research or engage someone like yourself, right? You want that expert to be able to say, this is a good buy, and this will not stack. A lot of my clients come to me with sites pre-purchase to say, can I make this work? And I think that's part of my role, especially if it is, say, existing clients or people who do want to kind of make a living out of it, is to really help them on that journey.
Yes.
All I can give them is my advice, and essentially they make the call.
Yes.
But I do take a really good sort of understanding of the market and make sure that I can give that advice.
So it nearly sounds like the buy-in is probably the most important thing at the moment.
Yeah, always. Yeah. If you can't buy at the right price, then you're sort of fighting an uphill battle for the rest of the development.
True.
Everyone I've ever met who's made it in the development industry always says buying's most important.
Yeah. Here's one, because you've worked with both ends of the spectrum. You've worked with the movers and shakers who are on their 10th, 11th, and you've got your mum and dad or a builder. This is a common one, a builder who's done a lot of projects for clients. Now they want to try themselves, their first one. Yeah. What's the key difference you're finding with the movers and shakers who are seasoned at doing this versus first timers?
The movers and shakers know the market and what they need to produce. It's all about the balance point, right? Yeah. So the size, the quality of where they're building and who their sort of, say, end buyer might be. The people new to it need to learn that. They need to learn, if I'm building in Palm Beach, the particular buyer will be at a particular price point of this. Yes. And it's almost working backwards from that sale price rather than sort of doing numbers from purchase to construction to being hopeful of a sale. You really got to make sure that buffer is, I suppose, created so that you're always in a strong position. So
it's nearly like, all right, I'm looking at this suburb, for example, on the Gold Coast. It's nearly like I need to understand and get in the mind of who this eventual buyer is going to be. Like if I'm engaging a top line designer like Jayson Pate or many of the other ones out there, and it's like I'm going all in, it's like before I even start, you're saying, think who is actually going to buy this high-end
100%.
Product.
Yeah. And so is it a downsizer? Is it a retiree? Is it a executive family? Are you targeting someone from Sydney or Melbourne? Are you designing finishes that they would expect? Is it Chinese? Is it like you'll find that we've got a lot of Chinese sort of infiltrating our market at the moment. Know who you want to target, know what their tastes are, know what works for them and their families, and design to it. Be structured about it. Don't just take a chance.
I love that. Mate, it probably goes a layer deeper now too, which we'll touch on, is location. on the Gold Coast, because I'm finding like there's, from Broadbeach down to say Coolangatta on the board, all your blue chip sort of suburbs. We're talking as well all the way up to like Paradise Point on the North Gold Coast. I'd say every 5 kilometres, new suburb, new kind of demographic, new feel.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that in the designs and kind of what people are appealing to as well?
Yeah, we do tailor designs to particular pockets or suburbs.
Gotcha.
I'm a big believer that, say, your Mermaid Beaches or your Burleys, coast side, coastal living.
Yep.
You go and build the black and concrete urban home in Burleigh, it's a risk. People in Burleigh are generally that coastal lifestyle, want to be down the beach and want to come home to, that almost contemporary beach house. Don't get me wrong, you can get away with a beautiful home of any type, but your buyer pool might be a little bit smaller in those areas. You come up to Broadbeach waters, you'll get away with a bit of anything. If anything, you'll sort of see less coastal designs in Broadbeach waters than you will definitely in Burleigh.
True.
So we sort of know the markets like that too. You also then say products around Broadbeach or say Paradise Waters, you're probably going to look towards people having decent sized boats or the toys. So do you go basement, do you go rooftops with the skyline views? As you get down to sort of Burleigh and Palmy, do you really kind of get the value out of saying go rooftop because the views of the city skyline aren't there? It's...
Great point.
Yeah, so you'll find your suburbs and you'll sort of understand what sells and why, and what could be taking a bit too much of a risk or chance, and maybe pull it back from there.
Mate, that's such a good point. Like it's just even coming to me now. Like we were really fortunate. We got to we secured one of Australia's most viewed homes, that one on Winch Court, which is a great build. But I guess that block. The guys who built that one, obviously they did really well with the block. It had the skyline, but it was point position, so they could obviously, with the size of it, they could go basement too, and they were attracting the eventual buyer of that, who is our client, was loved all those things, right? Had the toys and loves the rooftop. So you're exactly right. Now I think about if that was more on the southern end, are you going too much? Because the reason he loved the rooftop is because he was looking at the skyline
view. Yeah, and you take that block and you would have had 300 or 400 metres of water in front of you. So straight away, premium block, double block, possibility to do premium product and get premium sale price. I talk to clients a lot about understanding what your block is. Is it in the top echelon? Is it sort of mid-range or is it compromised? If it's compromised, don't put a prestigious sort of product on a compromised block. It's out of kilter straight away. Then you're really going to sort of search for that buyer who can make your development work. I'm a believer that compromised block, when I say compromised design, more, basic design that works for the compromised block so that you're not sort of taking risks with construction prices getting away from you. Go into your middle range, hit that mid to high level design, finish, and we go all the way through to say, if you're in that mid range, don't go and put Gaggenau appliances in.
Yes.
Keep it to Smeg, Miele for appliances, natural stones in kitchens, maybe reconstituted stones in kids' en-suites and laundries. Find your balance, but don't overspend expecting someone just to come in on a block that's here or here and pay what might be right up there. Yeah.
Awesome point. So it justifies the location is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of that back end price. Like if you had unlimited budget, you'd be really wanting the best parcel possible to go all out with the build. Yeah. That's a really good point though, because not everyone can afford the blue chip block with 20 plus frontage and views and whatnot. So your advice to those buyers is really work with the block you have, and maybe it's a case of still getting a quality home, but just realize maybe you're overcapitalizing if you're going a bit too all out. Yeah. And on that, just to give value to the listener, what would be some real factual things there's no right or wrong, just from Jayson Pate's on the Gold Coast, you know so many blocks. What would you say? Let's go on a waterfront and a dry block. So let's try the waterfront. What would be more your blue chip style of waterfront, and what would be more maybe an entry level in your opinion? Yeah,
so if we're talking the sort of blue chip stock where, it's premium, north to water, point positions. So those blocks
just highlight point position for anyone who doesn't know They've probably heard it a lot with real estate agents.
So point position is essentially a fan-shaped block. You know, it might be, a lot of them are at the end of a cul-de-sac. Yes. So you've got a narrow frontage, but then they fan out to the water.
Yeah.
And some of the beautiful blocks on the coast, they may end up with 50 or 60 sort of crazy, meters of waterfront, but they may have a 10-meter frontage on the street frontage. But they're sort of what we call our point positions. And so you can get away with really sort of, upping your game on a point, especially the bigger and wider ones you get. Come back to, say, waterfronts, a north-facing, say Broadbeach Waters or say Isla Capri, Paradise Waters, you can get away with putting a serious home on those and expect a real serious price back.
Yes. Come
back to, say, Broadbeach Waters, because I know it so well. You go south-facing to a narrower canal, which we get through Broadbeach at times.
Yeah.
Don't go in it and put the world's best house on it. You will struggle to get that really high price point with a south-facing to a narrow canal. You've got to understand it. And I think this is a bit of a key driver for, say, the listeners coming up from Melbourne and Sydney to really understand that. And that's what value you would give to your sort of buyers. And what I can do for my sort of clients is really make them understand each block and what they can expect out of it.
Yeah, that's a huge one, isn't it? The north, south facing, west facing. Until I got in the game seriously, over a decade ago, I didn't understand how big of a driver that is. Like the parcel, which way it's facing. Obviously, we're really blessed here on the coast. We've got amazing we got skyline, we've got hinterland, and we've got ocean, and the sun rises from the east. So there's a lot of different aspects you can kind of play with there. What about, because this is another one, people always think, waterfront is the be all end all, and I've sort of said, yes, obviously some of the big prices are there, but I've seen some amazing results for dry blocks too. If you can nail a really good dry block, build a quality home on that, don't just assume you have to get on water to make money. Would you agree with that statement?
Absolutely. And say personally, I live on a dry block, found myself a subdividable block, but the, say, backyard, which was more like side yard, essentially was north facing. Gotcha. And I could essentially cut it off, leave the existing house on half the block to be sold off, and build a beautiful home on a north facing. It's got water views, but dry block. You find something like that, there's sort of money in it. But I'm not a huge boatie. I haven't grown up around them. I don't need one. So, but north facing, it's amazing the difference. People really need to understand that orientation because it's so important. We often say to clients who buy, even just say, Mermaid Beach is a perfect suburb to talk about because you're really either north to backyard or south to backyard. Yep. There's actually a really big difference when it comes to, say, your living spaces, al frescoes and pools. You go south facing, it's a very, very different setup to having that north facing backyard where you've got beautiful all day sun on your pool, shielded from your onshore southeasterly winds, which can be cool at times. If you could... The difference between, say, north on a Mermaid Beach site to a south, I would pay anywhere up to probably $500,000 more for a north facing. And most people won't understand that. So, you're sort of talking $3.5 million for these north facing sort of blocks, 400 square meters of Mermaid Beach at the moment. South, if you had a south block and you could get up to that sort of number, you'd be pretty happy.
100%. And mate, on that, all right, for value to the buyer right now, listening, who budget might have just capped them, that they've ended up in maybe a west or south facing. From a design, I'm really keen to hear this because this is your expertise. Someone comes to you with a south or a west, or probably not your blue chip aspect, but obviously they can still build something quality on the Gold Coast. What's your, I guess, tip? What are you thinking design wise? Like any tips for anyone out there if they are got a south? Like how can they look at still making money on that?
I think the key is to understand the compromises to the site and say the impacts. So I talk of the southeasterly sort of cool onshore breezes we get. Yeah. We've got to locate our pool in a space that we can kind of, or even al frescoes that can kind of be shielded from it on those horrible days. So do you have just roller screens that might be able to come down and kind of block out some of that breeze? Have you got sliding sort of screens that can be opened up on the beautiful, perfect day, but sort of then closed up on the day that you really need to shield yourself? It's creating those the flexibility to be able to use the spaces at any time, rather than just having south-facing pool, cold feeling like you never use your al fresco. you design around those things. Sometimes we'll do courtyard type designs where on those horrible days there's somewhere else to retreat to sit with friends and actually kind of find a little bit of sun but out of the wind. So we'll always be we understand those compromises and the impacts, and we'll design around them.
Gotcha.
West to water is another interesting one. West and east, it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on which you believe is more premium. I think it's sort of 50-50. And it's crazy because early days, I was a bit more east-facing, city skyline view. Yeah. I was a big believer. But you do get the southeasterly that blows in the afternoons, you get shaded by your own home. And yes, you've got the sort of skyline view, but now when you want to be in the pool, it can be a bit cooler. Whereas I think, say, if my clients are entertainers, a west-facing house isn't the end of the world for entertainers. A beer in the sun, in the pool and out, as long as we can vary that amount of sun, like especially that southwestern setting sun in summer, you need to be able to shield that a little bit. But on a beautiful winter's afternoon, there's nothing better than sitting out in the western sort of facing, and then you get the sunsets. We've done a house at the moment for Paul from PJH on the market at the moment. Beautiful house on Dipper Drive.
Dipper, yeah.
Those red sunsets of winter over that beautiful, couple of 100 metres of water. That's a seriously good aspect.
And I guess that really comes down, again, what you said earlier, Jace, around knowing your end buyer. We've had a few clients high end love the west facing, but they're not really boaties or anything. They just want to sit and look at it, like you know what I mean. Well, so, and they're happy with the lake too.
Yeah, and I guess that's your Burleigh, right? So a lot of Burleigh kind of sets up a little bit more west to water because the canals don't really run in close to the beach. So the closer you want to be to Burleigh itself, but be on water, there's a lot of west facing. So around Burleigh Street there. You've got a few north facing at the top of Burleigh Street, but a lot of around that area are west facing. You can still walk to James Street, great lifestyle, but then you get the beautiful sunsets over water. So, you can really make a case for that.
Yeah. You actually bring up a really good point there with that property. Thoughts on single level versus double level? We were talking off air, the 5 stories becoming pretty common now on the parcels you can do it. Thoughts on trends, what's changing? I'm feeling the single story starting to really make an impact.
Yeah, the single's certainly sort of hot at the moment. And I think it's understanding your market. So the downsizer, single level, absolutely spot on. True. No one wants the stairs. And there's not a lot of people putting in lifts in, two-story homes. So I think no one wants to go to an old person's home anymore, it's out for everybody. So everyone's trying to work out what the product is that can suit them into their, long into their 80s or hopefully 90s, whoever you might be. But is the product then single level? The trick is you need a site big enough to fit what you would like in your home on a single level. And I reckon you'd probably find that we also talked about, 3 versus 4 bedrooms. Most people want 4 bedrooms these days. It's very rare to especially design a home, let alone a villa or duplex at 3 bed. But a home at 3 bedrooms is very, very rare. So by the time you want 4 beds, most people want a couple of living spaces. Throw in your garaging and all the bits and pieces of laundries and walk-in pantries and alfrescos and pools and all the bits you need. You probably need about 800 square metres of land to be able to even consider a really nice single-story home. So a lot of the time people just get pushed towards double story just because the parcel of land isn't big enough to really create what they want in single level. Keys there. I'm a believer, and I impress this on my clients all the time. I don't believe houses with just 1 bedroom upstairs work very well at all, especially to take back to market. So you go and do a beautiful sort of single level home, but say take your master bedroom up only. I struggle to name the family that it really truly works for. It may be executive couple, no kids, but when the kids come along, if you've got kids between the ages of say 0 and 10, 0 and 12, it's very hard to sort of suggest that they'll live on a different floor to you and sleep the night through on a different floor. Now, if you're someone who likes their sleep and doesn't want the kids in the bed with you, good luck, being in a house like that. The kids will be running upstairs as soon as they wake in bed with you because they've got no other option. So I'm a bit of a believer if you go double story, then you pretty much take 3 bedrooms up, not just 1. And the real key or the real kind of most desirable product at the moment, I believe, is 3 bedrooms up and 1 down for guests.
Having one for guests, yeah.
You know, the bigger families, possibly 4 up, 1 down, but you're starting to get to a pretty big house. And then we talk of numbers. To build the 5-bedroom home, you're essentially then taking an extra bathroom up as well. So no longer can you do like the Jack and Jill bathroom for the 2, say, kids' rooms. Now you've got an extra bedroom. I think en-suites are more desirable than the big family bathroom now. So by the time you've got 3 bedrooms up, you've essentially got 2 bathrooms for them plus the master suite. So you start throwing in some significant cost. You just got to know, you know. So
exactly.
You can quickly hear the knowledge of me, the buyers I talk of, the say clients who are creating these products, and really kind of understanding who and why. Yeah, big part.
Mate, that's such good advice. Even looking at it, it's like understanding the mindset there, like hearing it from you, the cost is not like everything has a cost, right? A basement, a rooftop, like significant, putting a lift in, extra bathroom, extra bedroom. So yeah, you're really looking at that sort of detail of, and again, that's from your experience working with so many and doing things yourself. So that's going to add a stack of value to the listener there of like this. If you want to there's some serious money to be made, but it's going to take a lot of research, understanding, you know, working with the right people too.
Yeah. And I think, say for the clients of yours or the listeners of yours who are trying to get into that market or at least dipping their toe in, you got 2 options. Do all the research yourself and trust what you're learning, which might take a while, or build a really good team around you. Yeah. So it might be come to, you know, the Srama group to find the site. It might be come to Jayson Pate Design to help you from there to make your site stack. But we'll bring a team in of consultants, of structural engineers or town planners or energy efficiency consultants and hydraulic sort of engineers, acoustic engineers, like you name it. We know what sites need what, who to use, how much they'll cost, so you can do FISOs and really understand even pre-purchase that this thing will stack up.
Yeah, I love that. Such great advice. And mate, on that too, like you're not just doing client stuff, you're obviously doing some stuff yourself. So you're walking the walk as well, not just talking the talk. Mate, you're about to commercial like that. You got Jayson Pate Office HQ coming about. Mate, give us an idea how that all came about, and have you seen any similarities or differences between now doing commercial versus residential on the Gold Coast?
The commercial space is really new for me. Funnily enough, last time I was on the podcast, I spoke of a business mentor of mine who sort of was of the opinion that almost bigger is always better. And he's very much let me settle into my groove. But if I have questions, he's the guy I turn to. He's always sort of pushed or impressed on me that commercial is a good way to go. An asset sort of not only for the business but for the family, you know, for years to come. It took a little while to sink in, I think. But I think now's the right time. I've found my site. I mentioned just in Broadbeach Waters, so near home. It'll be good for the kids and good for sort of travel times. But to move into that and sort of essentially develop commercial is exciting, but it's not a world I know well. So once again, if I'm learning something new, I'm leaning on my consultants and my contacts. So before I purchase the site, I'm talking to people who build that type of product. What would something like this cost? What's the land going to be worth? Making it stacked, speaking to real estate agents about here's my land content, here's my construction price. What would it be worth to sell if I ever got in trouble? What would rents be if I ever wanted to take my business out or retire and be able to rent that space out for? And does it all stack up? So I'm doing my own research in a field that sort of is just not my everyday, but is almost just there. It's on the side of what I do daily.
Yeah, 100%. No, I'll be excited to see that one. I've seen some renders I think you put out. Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Looks cool, and anyway, hope I can pull it off.
And mate, I know the HIA awards are coming up. Obviously, that's a big one for all house designers, builders across Australia and also the Gold Coast. It's so cool to see, actually, just a side note, how many homes on the Gold Coast are always sort of finalists or mentioned in those awards. It's just showing again, hey, this city has got some of the best products nationwide.
Yeah, if you look at the HIA's, say, People's Choice Awards that's out at the moment, you can vote for your favourite, I think, of about a dozen, which we're lucky enough to have 3 of the dozen of our homes sort of nominated. But you look at the calibre of project, and not only ours, but across the board, what Gold Coast architects and designers are doing is sort of becoming, if not, say, leading the nation's architecture. But we're getting calls from, I had a call from someone in Jamaica the other day who wanted to do villas in Jamaica, who are seeing our stuff on Instagram, who you kind of, like my first thought, scam. Why would someone from so far away be contacting us about doing something like this?
Yeah.
That's the reach. That's what we've got at our fingertips these days with the internet and things like Instagram, so widespread. It's a really cool kind of, say, part of the industry that you really need to be across if you want to grow or you've got dreams of expanding sort of further and wider.
And mate, you mentioned off air as well, like we were just talking on one of the properties up in Miami. You 3 in particular, I think. I know. Is it Cloud Breaks?
Yeah,
one
Cloud
of them,
Breaks.
isn't it?
For MacTech, which I think...
Mate, that's a bang. If you drive along the Gold Coast Highway now, so look to if you're heading north, passing Miami sort of one shopping centre, just look to your right and you'll see this banger on the top of the hill.
Yeah, I think you talk of living under a rock. Most people on the Gold Coast, if they haven't seen some sort of social media about Cloudbreak, then they possibly will have seen this incredible build sort of coming to life up on the North Burleigh Hill. Miami address, but sort of on North Burleigh Hill there. It is absolutely incredible. And it's a proud moment to sort of see it come to life because, go back even 2 years ago, sitting with you, probably didn't think that, something like that was even, in the realms of possibility for me. Go back 20 years to when I was starting, absolutely, that would have been a pipe dream. Not even a chance would I be picking up a site on top of North Burleigh Hill to just build what is truly going to be an iconic home for the Gold Coast. And not only that, but then others, we're starting to really kind of break into that dream home market where, people are building 5 and 6 story homes on the beach and coming to us for it, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool too. Like you always look at sort of your Sydneys and Melbournes and especially eastern suburbs of Sydney, right? And these amazing grand homes, they are on the coast now. Yeah. And another one of your homes, Pearl on the beachfront in Palmy. Again, if you do your little walk on Palmy, the big white beautiful thing is five levels, Pearl?
5 levels, 5 levels. Yeah. And we talk of, it sounds excessive. To most of the listeners, a 5-story home is out of reach. It absolutely is. But it's quite easily justifiable. We're talking basement, so call it your car parking level.
Has that got basement?
That's got basement, yeah. So really 4 above ground and 1 below. Yeah. A lot of people are sort of going into those wellness spaces with basements, if not cinema room or cellar. Some golf simulators going into some of our builds at the moment. So justifiable, having space for the cars. Next level up, living, everyone needs it. Go another level up, maybe kids' bedrooms. Go a level up for master suite and go a level up for entertaining.
Yes.
5 levels, is it excessive or is it justifiable? I'll lean on the sort of side of justifiable very quickly.
Yeah, 100%, especially in the way world's changing. We were just chatting off air too. I'm really keen to unpack this. I guess, change of back in the day, I felt it was, you need the 600 to 900 square block, and have the yard, the white picket fence and stuff like that. Mate, people are loving sort of hitting all your needs. Low maintenance is a common one we hear a lot with a lot of turnkey buyers. We're chatting off air. What's your thoughts on that now? Like some of your builds, they're getting jammed on like a 400 square meter block with a 10 meter frontage, even 300 square we were talking before. Is it possible to design the dream home on types of these blocks?
Yeah, absolutely. And you sort of talk of the 400 square meter block. Now, that's Mermaid Beach in almost 90% of it.
Yeah.
So they've been around a long time. I find that the age-old sort of quintessential home with the big backyard for the kids to kick a football or hit a cricket ball over the fence, whatever we used to do as kids, life's changed. We're sort of trying to get kids out of the house with a crowbar at the moment. Go down the beach, go to the park, but it's those external sort of spaces these days rather than kind of like go play cricket in the backyard, unfortunately, because I have fond memories of those days. But life now is about low to no maintenance and being able to enjoy your weekends out and about rather than spending them mowing the lawns or doing the weeding and just having that kind of, heavy maintenance of a big yard. Don't get me wrong, we've got clients who move out and do the tree change.
Yeah.
So they've been beachside, they're kind of over being on a 400 square metre block and hearing their next door neighbour sneeze, but they'll do the tree change and some of them absolutely love it. So don't get me wrong, it's available to you, but you come sort of this side of, say, the Pacific Motorway, people are more interested in a nice size home, less maintenance, so they can spend their weekends at Burleigh Beach.
Gotcha. Mate, that might roll into the old conundrum, right? I'm keen to hear your thoughts on this. The location versus the dwelling conundrum. So, for example, what are you finding maybe from a return? Let's go return, pure investment, make money side of things. A block that's larger and you can build a standalone dwelling a little bit further out on the Gold Coast versus really close to the beach, but maybe a duplex block.
Yeah, it is a hard one, right? Because if we're talking of a sort of, call it a $3 million product versus a $3 million product, which will appreciate and value more, it's anyone's sort of guess when you're sort of literally investing the same amount.
Yes.
I think that I've always been a location sort of person. And funnily enough, two of my staff at the moment who have come from elsewhere both had an option at the same time. They were working for a home builder. One chose to buy a home built by the builder up in Pimpamar, sort of Oxenford area, sort of investment strategy. And one of the others who worked for me previously and had been overseas but sort of filling in time till she came back, my advice to her was to buy location. So she bought an older apartment or sort of townhouse in Mermaid Beach. So which of the two is the correct investment strategy? There's no wrong. The client who bought in Mermaid turned a really good profit, has now sold, moved on, and is now in a house, which is the perfect sort of stepping stone, right? And my other staff member who bought up at Pimpamar, they still own that. It's been rented ever since and has been a really strong investment for capital growth and for just constant tenants. So, I think people need to hone in on what they truly want and what they're trying to sort of, create as whether it's a property portfolio or is it a stepping stone to bigger and better homes personally. But I couldn't say that there's actually one key or, there's no right or wrong to it. I think if you and I would both agree, say the last 20 years of the Gold Coast, it's just get into property. Don't sit back, buy what you can, understand the market, but buy something and it will appreciate with just the pure economics of supply and demand. We have high demand at the moment and the supply is quite low. Why wouldn't you want to live on the Gold Coast? We spoke of our weather and our sort of climate and kind of everything earlier. It's the place to be. It's not changing. Our climate's not changing. And I'm a Melbourne boy and I love Melbourne, but you couldn't get me to live there in winter. It's just too cold these days. I speak to mates down there, that's home to them. They know no different like I was as a kid, but you give me a choice, I'm here every day.
Mate, it is insane how many Melbourneites still want to be here. Hey, like everyone thought it was a COVID thing and then a post-COVID, mate. It's just a life thing now. Like we had about 3 people last week from all school, like they want to plant their kids into a certain school catchment and they're like, no, we're done down there. Then I didn't realise too, because I'm born and bred Brisbane and southeast Queensland, but the weather, I didn't realise how big of an impact it is, of just pure weather and lifestyle.
It is, and you only have to go through one real bitter, cold winter in sort of a Melbourne, or Sydney can be bitterly cold at times. You go through those enough, especially as you get older as well, the sort of aches and pains you feel in those cold winter's mornings, they're worse. And I've had friends with elderly parents who are sort of knocking on the door of their grave in Melbourne, Sydney. They move up to the Gold Coast and there's a whole new lease of life, and they're like literally a new person, like a flourishing kind of, it's just their world has changed with just that warmer weather.
Gotcha.
So, you can make a case for a lot of, say, different age groups and different reasons. You know, lifestyle's one. Go swim in the beach. These older people won't be the ones out swimming the surf, but just that warmth of a morning and not feeling like freezing cold when they wake up, it's all good for them. So more of them are going to move here.
Yeah.
The trick to the Gold Coast also, and I think this goes back to that property price of where do things go over the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Remember, we're hemmed in by the mountains and the ocean, and we can really only go so far north and south before you're sort of starting to hit, you know, that middle run between Gold Coast and Brisbane. So it's very hard we can't develop more land. We can split it down a little bit further, but there's only so many properties that can be developed in that sort of true Gold Coast area that we probably play in so much.
Mate, it's insane. Like it's not a scary thing. I just feel tough for people who are trying to get into the market because you're exactly right. Supply and demand 101. Like, yeah, we're very landlocked.
We are.
Like, and if the easiest thing to do is just go on Google Maps and then scroll out and then look for green. The only green is, like, as you said, between Brisbane and sort of Gold Coast, and then far down south in some of those Tweed estates that are Kingscliff and that, and everything else is
built out.
Is built out. Yeah.
So, you know, I think this goes back to if you can afford, it may be a one better. You know, if it suits your lifestyle right now, I don't think you'll go backwards by buying a one better. Sure, if you can reach a two will appreciate quicker than a one in my eyes. But everyone's got a cap and everyone's got sort of a number. Find what's best for your number, but get into property and have confidence that it will grow, because I believe it will.
Yeah, 100%. And that's probably a really good place as we wrap up. I think the confidence you're talking around, and you might give actually appreciation to this too. Like, a lot of the people you're doing a lot of business, it's not their first rodeo, right? Like, they've spent, maybe they bought a house way back when, and it probably was the one better out the back of Whoop Whoop or whatever, and they've kind of worked their way up.
Yeah.
So, you know, we might be talking around Jayson's work right now, but don't underestimate, again, how close that could be if you put in the effort and discipline, sacrifice now. I mean, that probably brings us as well, like the deal of the week. So, brought to you by the Srama Group, an off-market actually in Burleigh Heads. We secured off-market deal of the week this week. It was a block, actually. We'll chat off air. I think you might know it, but purchase for some clients, off-market, no competition. The demo was already done, so they're going to break ground straight away, smack bang behind James Street under there, and secured under the 2 mil. So with the one in front, keep that one up your sleeve. They'll be breaking ground as blue chip Burleigh Heads. So thanks to the team, the Srama Group. For all your Gold Coast needs, contact the team there. DM me on Instagram. Off market, and I can look after you there with the team. But to go off the back of that, Jayson, lastly, location. How important, or I'm just keen to hear, obviously we've spoken the importance of it. I love asking this question because everyone on the Gold Coast has a different answer, so there is no right or wrong. But from Jayson Pate's sort of theory, where are you seeing not only a lot of this flow on of money buying, number one, but then number two, where do you see potential? Like, maybe it's that bridesmaid suburb that's still not at its hotness yet.
Yeah. So first and foremost, Paradise Waters down to Palmy, along that beach strip, absolute. There's your blue chip. You've got the money, invest somewhere there, and you'll do very well. The sort of smokies at the moment, I think we've sort of shifted south a little bit. So Crumb and Waters, absolute.
Love it.
You know, I may not be telling people what they don't already know. It's certainly changing and changing fast. A lot of projects sort of happening for us down there. The Hankins have just built one of the most insane houses
coming up there. Right?
You know, that home has changed the face of Crumb and Waters singularly. But there's some more really, really serious houses that we've designed to be built or under construction there at the moment.
Interesting.
So Eleanor is sort of a bit of a sleepy one as well. I think last time I was on, we actually mentioned a particular site in Eleanor, and that it was, you know, it was just ready to explode. The particular home, Villa Alcyone, is within weeks of being finished. Wait to see that on socials on completion. It is just fantastic. So, but Eleonora, I think there's still a lot of growth to come, and Crumb and Waters. So there's a couple of
Interesting
locations for your buyers to look at.
Jayson Pate Smokies right
there. Yeah.
Mate, it's cool too because everyone's the blue chip on the coast. It's again, if you're looking for opportunity, maybe your price point might not be there, but again, you can still make decent money here on the Gold Coast, whether it's development, renovation, whatever. And yeah, I totally agree with Jayson on some of those suburbs too. Mate, just quickly too, we were chatting off air on the business, your growth of the business. What's kind of legacy you want to leave, or like what's the plans for Jayson Pate Design? Obviously, it's just going from strength to strength. I'm sure you've got plenty of work on your books. Everyone seems to wants a Jayson Pate Design. Like, what's your goal with, I guess, the business or your legacy with your brand?
So goal at the moment has sort of changed recently now that this commercial property's sort of come to light. So in the next, say, couple of years, we'll be really focusing on making that work and getting into the new office space. We're a team of 10 now. So I reckon last time I spoke, we're probably a team of 2 or 3 plus obviously my wife and I. But we're a team of 10 plus my wife and I now. So we're growing. We're probably grown as large as we can in our current space. I put interior design into the office at the start of this year. So we've got 3 really talented interior designers on with us now. So I'll expand that business as we kind of have the space to do it. It just goes hand in hand with the architecture. So it's been a real good value add for the clients and for myself as a businessman. But as we get into the new space, it'll give me the chance to expand further if I like. I've never been about taking on the world. I said it last time and I'll say it again. It's about consolidation, doing the right thing by people and really enjoying changing that face of the Gold Coast sort of one house at a time.
It might actually lead, just out of curiosity too, like the business part of it, like you've done well there. I remember from our last step, for anyone who hasn't listened, check out mine and Jason's first step a few years ago. But not many people know you didn't have any kind of degree or anything like that, did you? Really?
Well, I was TAFE qualified, so that's a diploma. A couple of year course back then, and I still am a big believer in that course. Sets out the basics for you, and you'll learn the rest on the job. We employ people from the architecture world, so uni. Don't get me wrong, they come with a wealth of knowledge themselves. Work ethic is incredible from the uni students because they get work to the bone. And they sort of do a minimum 3 years and sometimes 6 if they want to go through masters and sort of go all the way through. But for anyone out there who's not a huge bookworm or who loves study like myself, the TAFE course definitely can take you on a pathway to end up somewhere that is a really, really good industry to be a part of, especially on the coast. But without that craziness that uni can bring.
Yes, mate. And this is lastly, just out of curiosity, how do you stay like fresh in design? Like, my team try to get me to create a new Canva thing. I'm running out of ideas. I've done it once. And I'm like, I've got no more ideas. Like obviously you're a bit more of a creator, but how does, like, you're doing like, I'd assume over 100 or so homes a year. Like how do you just stay fresh? Because they're all kind of different as well. Like, I don't know. I'm just curious.
I guess it's that Instagram. It's the we've got everything really put in front of us from all around the world at the moment. So we'll find exciting new ideas, whether it's on a blog like Arc Daily, on Instagram from someone in Brazil, or it's all there for you these days. But it's now no longer just me either. It's I've got the staff there to throw their ideas in, and it's a real mashup of not only what I think a direction of, say, someone's design is, or what we truly believe as a team is the new sort of, say, design style that will hit the coast or, that will be big. So we're always talking and we're always sort of throwing ideas around. And I guess it's that collaborative that's helping me, because if it was just me trying to come up with 100 new home design styles every year, it'd almost be impossible.
Yes. Yeah. Mate, sorry, this is definitely the last question, because this is like, everyone always asks me, how's the market, right? As a house designer, I'm assuming would people say, Jace, mate, what's hot and what's not right now? Like what trends should I follow? Just out of curiosity, Gold Coast, what are you finding as hot or up and coming? And what are you finding as maybe that's a bit outdated?
Yeah, I think last time we spoke, I was saying Hamptons was now gone, which it obviously has. Don't get me wrong, we're still doing some really beautiful contemporary coastal homes with that kind of almost traditional beach house feel that some might call a little bit of that Hamptons, inspiration. And there'll always be a place for that. I think we're just sort of probably pulling back from, say, the exposed trusses and the true kind of detail of exposed rafters and things that those Hamptons homes had. The modern Mediterranean we spoke of last time, and this was what I was sort of pushing that was the next big thing. And it really has been, right, for the last couple of years.
You mentioned curves a lot.
Curves and arches, you know, are we seeing the back end of that? I reckon we've found the tip. Have we dropped off it? Not completely. I think we've plateaued with modern med.
I agree.
Still very hot on people's lips, but I think the real movers and shakers, the ones that are ahead of the curve, are probably coming back to squarer, sharper lines. You know, and just, but sort of testing that sort of market of something different. You'll see in the interior world, you know, we had oak floors, white cabinetry, even brass tapware and cabinetry handles for a long time. Now you'll see a whole lot more of sort of your chocolate brown cabinetries, people taking a lot more risk with their stone selections, you know, heavily veined stones, coloured stones. This is sort of coming in.
Nearly, eh?
Absolutely, yeah. It's people spending real serious money on real key features of the homes these days. Yeah. So I think if I had to say to clients or to say listeners, what is the next big trend coming internally? I'd say colour. Colour is really starting to press in, and I think for a long time people have been really hesitant and a little bit scared of going colour. I think that's the next big interior thing. External, as I say, I think we're getting away a little bit from your kind of white arched Mediterranean and moving back into something a little bit more contemporary. With the bigger budgets, we're doing a lot more concrete, whether it's just off form for the build or whether it's actually exposing some of that concrete too. But lots of glass, lots of concrete. That is probably the next big trend for those people with the higher budgets.
Yeah, wow. Mate, that's some great insight there. Definitely tend to agree from all the builders I know as well. Yeah, colour, like a bit of like something at you.
Yeah,
like you're walking through and it just grabs you. Like I got through 2 last week, just banger builds coming to market. Stone was like Italian, and just like full on.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. I think it's nearly like the standard black and white sort of coastal. People need a bit more.
Yeah, and the monochromatic is gone, I think, from internally.
Yes.
We've definitely shifted from that black, white, grey.
Yeah.
Which, look, we've made a living out of it. It would have been around 15 years.
Yeah.
We're finally out of that. A lot more people are now using those earthier, sandier colours internally as a minimum. But say designing this new office space, my interior girls are really challenging me at the moment because they're starting to play with burgundies and royal blues. And, you know, for someone who's been in the industry long enough, the safe play is to stay monochromatic.
Yeah.
It's sort of timeless, but really we want to show that we know what we're doing, not for now, but for the future. And so to actually build a safe office would almost be a bit of a So and this is a good one, sort of back towards how I come up with fresh ideas. So interior wise, these fresh ideas aren't me; these are the experts that I employ now. So and I've got to sort of take the risk and let go of the baby a bit and say, hey, this is you, and I need to trust what you want to do works for, say, our clients. We're now a team, and it's as much as it's my name on the door, where it's very much a team environment.
Yeah, I love that. Who, not how. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, unreal. Well, Jace, mate, I really appreciate that. Obviously, people can find you. Jayson, what's the Instagram handle?
Just Jayson Pate Design.
Jayson Pate Design. Yeah, get amongst it. It'll be inspo for days. The
Plenty
amount of things I've saved for the dream home on the beach, mate. I'll be knocking on your door soon. And mate, lastly as well, keep an eye out for Jayson's page. Good luck for the awards too. I know that's a big one. Having that many houses up for grabs there. And is there anywhere else people can find you, or just to get in touch?
Yeah, websites, Instagram. My number's there. I still work off a mobile phone these days, so it's direct to me.
Love it.
Yeah, look forward to hearing from people.
Yeah, likewise, mate. And I really appreciate time. I just want to acknowledge, obviously, from last time we spoke to now, not only the business growth, but just your presence around the coast. And again, it's people like yourself that I feel are actually changing the landscape on the Gold Coast. It's really, really cool to see the city evolve. So, man, it's a credit to all the work you do. So appreciate you jumping on Buying Gold Coast too. And getting that knowledge, I got so many notes here for my personal, selfish wise, but hopefully everyone got some out of that too. So yeah, thanks for jumping on, mate.
My pleasure.